Hello my dear students, welcome back to the online learning platform of Shri Baswa Public School. So today's session we are going to start with the second part, explanation and reading of the chapter. This is the Jodie's Fawn. Yes, this is Jodie's Fawn, which has written by Marjorie Kinnan Ravellings. So children, in the previous class we have studied that the chapter begins with the thinking of Jodie, one of the character of this chapter, this lesson, who was thinking about a fawn whose mother they killed and has used liver and heart of that doe, and the doe left behind it a fawn, a baby deer. So Jodie was kept on thinking about the fawn, and he was thinking that to save the life of the fawn because his mother saved the life of Jodie's father. How Jodie's father was beaten by a rattlesnake. So there was a superstition at that time in their city, in their surrounding area, that if a rattlesnake beaten to anyone, then if they are using a heart and liver of a deer, then they can be saved from the poison of rattlesnake. So here same thing happened. So Jodie father and one of the member killed the doe and they used the liver and heart of that deer. Now the deer was left a fawn behind her. So now Jodie's thinking was to save the life of fawn and to share his part of milk with it. So he tries to convince his father, and his father was also in a critical situation. He can't say no because he can't be ungrateful to the animal who saved his life. So he agreed and he appreciated the thought process of Jodie, and also mother too convinced. He too convinced to his mother. But the thing was, the mother was very worried about their family situation because they were poor. So how it is possible to bring and take care of an animal and to provide all facilities for that animal? Then Jodie, however, tries his father and mother to convince and he started his journey to bring the fawn to his house. So now till here we completed first part. Now I am going to start another session. So listen very carefully. Take pencil children to note down the words meaning. So let's start the second part, reading as well as explanation. Jodie gave himself over to thoughts of the fawn. They passed the abundant clearing. He said, "Cut to the north, Millville. It was up here. The pa got beaten by the snake and killed the doe, and I saw the fawn." Suddenly Jodie was unwilling to have Millville with him. If the fawn was dead or could not be found, he could not have his disappointment seen, and if the fawn was there, the meeting would be so lovely and so secret that he could not endure to share it. He said, "It's not far now, but the scrub is very thick. For a horse, I can make it on foot. But I am afraid to leave you, boy. Suppose you got lost or got beaten by the snake too." So children, here in this part, we will read that Jodie and Millville has started, they have come to the forest, and Jodie was kept on thinking about the fawn and the place where they left. He was thinking about the place where they killed the doe and left the fawn, and now exactly they have reached that point. But suddenly a thought arose in his mind that he did not want Millville with him now. For this he has two reasons. So now he don't want Millville to continue the search of fawn because there are two reasons. What are those? Listen very carefully. Firstly, if he could not find the fawn and it was dead, then he don't want to live or face disappointment with him. Okay. And secondly, if he is successfully got the fawn, then the meeting would be so lovely, so special that he could not share with him. That secret of meeting with the fawn, he don't want to share with Millville. So these are the two reasons which he don't want to be with Millville. So he is trying to send Millville back to the house. On deciding not to take Millville with him for further journey, he said him that to leave him there itself because the small bushes were so thick that the horse could not walk properly. Okay, he has taken the reason that it is not possible to walk the horse in these bushes, so it is better to you go back and leave me here itself. And therefore he had to go on foot or by walk. But Melville was not sure to leave him alone, because if Geordie leave him alone, then the rattlesnake will beat him. Then it is not good idea, it is not at all good idea to leave him alone. But Geordie, however, convinced him and assured him that he will take care of himself. So children, in this slide, you just underline the words meaning which are very difficult. Firstly, underline the phrase himself over to thoughts. Underline this phrase himself over to thoughts. It means started thinking. Okay. Then abundant means lonely. Abundant means lonely. Next, underline another word, unwilling. Unwilling mean not really wanting. Unwilling mean not really wanting. And next one, endure. Endure, E-N-D-U-R-E. Endure mean live. And next, scrub. Scrub mean small bushes. And on foot, it on foot. This phrase means it on foot means walking, by walk or else by walk. Okay. And the next, okay, these are the difficult words and phrases in this slide. So now I will move on towards the next stanza. But I am afraid to leave you, boy. Suppose you got lost or got beaten by the snake too. I will take care. It might take me a long time to find the fawn. If he is wandered, leave me off right here. All right, but you take it easy now. You know north here and east, there and there. That tall pine makes a bearing. So long, Melville, I am obliged. He waited for the sound of the hose to end, then cut to the right. The scrub was still, only his own crackling of twigs sounded across the silence. He wandered for an instant if he had mistaken his direction. So children, in this slide, firstly underline the word wandered. Wandered means traveling aimlessly. Travel aimlessly. Okay. Next word is so long mean by. Obliged means thankful. Hoof mean horse feet. Okay, horse feet. So here in the slide, Melville was afraid to leave the boy alone in the forest because he was afraid of snake. If it has beaten him, then what would happen to the child? But however, the child convinced Melville to go back to his to the house, and he ensured that he will take care of himself in a good way. And also Melville was the Geordie was very thankful of Melville for leaving him till here and to come with him till here, and he was very thankful to the Melville. However, the Geordie was convinced the Melville, and Melville went back to the house by leaving Geordie alone in that forest. Okay. Then Geordie continues the journey. After some time, he felt scared by the silence of the forest and also thought for a moment whether he lost the way or anything else. So, while going, Melville was advised him the direction to follow by seeing the pine tree. Northwest, you just see the pine trees, it will be good for you to find the way of coming back to the home. By advising it, he went back to the house. Okay. Now here, then a buzzard rose in front of him and flapped into the air. He came into the clearing under the oaks. Buzzards sat in a circle around the carcass of the doe. They turned their heads on their long scrawny necks and hissed at him. He threw his bow at them, and they flew into a adjacent tree. The sand showed large cat prints, but the big cats killed fresh, and they had left the doe to the carrion birds. So children, here buzzards mean flesh-eating birds, a large bird like the vulture that eats the flesh of dead animal. Okay, and Clearing mean open area. Clearing mean open area. Oaks, large tree, a kind of large tree. Oaks mean a kind of large tree. And bough, it means a branch of tree. A branch of tree. Hissed, it is a kind of sound which birds were making. Hissed means it is a kind of a sound. Adjacent mean nearby. Carrion birds, flesh eating birds. Carrion birds mean flesh eating birds. Okay. So here in this stanza, when Jodi came into the bushes, he saw the dead body of doe which was surrounded by the flesh-eating birds like buzzards. But the moment the birds saw Jodi, they turned and hissed at him by threatening him. But Jodi was a brave boy. He did not scared by the sound by looking at those birds, and he took a big branch of a tree and threw it on them. And all of a sudden the birds flew nearby a tree. Then he saw the big cat legs print and realized that the tiger or lion must have eaten the doe and left some parts for these birds. So now, in the next stanza, he parted the grass at the place where he had seen the fawn. It did not seem possible that it was only yesterday. The fawn was not there. He circled the clearing. There was no sound, no sign. The buzzards clacked their wings, impatient to return to their business. He returned to the spot where the fawn had emerged and dropped on all four, studying the sand for the small hoof prints. The night's rain had washed away all tracks except those of cat and buzzards. So children, in the last stanza, Jodi was kept looking to the fawn and he was pushing bushes to search the fawn. He was searching the fawn surrounding area of the doe where the doe was lying. The dead body of the doe was lying. He circled the clearing bushes trying to look for fawn, but he could not find it, not even the footprint of the fawn. The buzzards who were they were very impatiently waiting and they were very eager by the presence of Jodi. They were eagerly waiting when the Jodi will move from that place, and so that they can come and get back to their work. What was the work? Of eating the dead body of doe. Jodi returned to the place first time when he saw the fawn while killing the doe. He brought all the four means, this phrase mean, he sat down on his knees and palms and tries to study the sand for the footprint of fawn. But there were no footprints. All he could see was the big cat prints and the buzzard's footprints. So this is the complete explanation of the second part. I hope you understand. Let me recall once again by picturizing the story. Here in second part starts from the search of fawn. Both Millville and Jodi went into the forest by taking the horse. At a moment, Millville realized that he could not face of disappointment with Jodi, so that he sent back Millville to the house and assured him that he will take care of himself. Then he started searching the fawn in the bushes. He was pushing the bushes and trying to search the fawn. When he saw the dead body of doe, which was surrounded by the flesh-eating birds like vultures, when the vultures saw the Jodi, they tried to threaten the Jodi, but as you know that Jodi was very brave boy, so he was not afraid by them. Even he tries here to take away those birds from the dead body of the doe. And his thinking was, if the dead body was lying at that place, then fawn would be near to the mother body. Then he was trying very hard to search the fawn at that place. He covered complete surrounded area, but he could not find the fawn, not even the footprint of the fawn. He found only the footprint of the tiger, lion and the vultures who were eating the dead body of the doe. So till here we completed the second part explanation as well as the reading. I hope you understood both first part as well as second part, and in the next session I'll come up with the third part explanation and reading. Once again, thank you so much for watching this video.